Across the year of 2024, AI tools went from fun distractions to a key element in business, the arts and even in education.
Coming into 2025, we're looking ahead at the uncertain future for these rapidly developing AI tools. Joining us now to explore the exciting and sometimes uncertain future of AI is tech journalist Ciara O'Brien and Professor of Computing in DCU, Alan Smeaton. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Ciara, we'll start with you. Look, the difference between AI in the start of 2024 to the end of 2024 was rather crazy. What are the top lines that we should expect to see for this year coming in?
I think we'll see AI get more personal because these tools are now coming to our phones. Apple is bringing Apple Intelligence to EU users for their iPhones and their iPads. It's already being rolled out in the US, but these tools are going to become more integrated into our mobile devices. So at the moment, if you have an Android phone, you have Gemini, which is their version of AI on the phone, you can have a conversation with it and you can interrupt it. Whereas before, like all these conversations that you would have with chatbots would be quite stilted. Like if you used, say, Google Home or Alexa or Siri, you would have to ask a question in a specific way. Now, the whole conversation has just become more natural. So it's a much easier way for people to interact with the technology. As it becomes more personal, obviously technology will know more about you. Not everybody is going to be too keen on that.
Alan, I suppose it can be argued that 2023 was the year of the generated image, 24, the generated video. What lies ahead for us in 25?
I think looking back on 23 and 24, in 2023, the discussion was mostly about the threat of AI and about banning it and stopping it and putting it back in its box and pushing back against it. And then once we got over that in last year, 2024, we were about using it, but using it safely. And in 2025, we're now about using it productively. There was a very large conference held in Bletchley Park, which is famous for Alan Turing and the movie The Enigma, about a year ago, where about 30-something nations sent their top politicians and technology people. And the narrative at that was all about the fear of AI, AI taking over the world. Remember that discussion?
Yeah.
That has now moved. The next version of that conference is on next month in Paris, and the narrative in Paris is all about using AI and AI opportunities. So not only has the technology moved, as Ciara has pointed out, but also the discussions and the way we embrace it and the way we regard it has also changed. I think, as Ciara said, that the AI will get more personal, will get more prevalent, and it will just slowly seep into our lives more and more, rather than the big headline things which we've seen last year and the year before.
Yeah. Ciara, AI-generated images they've come a long way since a blurry face or maybe an extra finger here and there, but we can still spot the difference. Do you think that this year it could advance to the point that we struggle to tell the real from the fake?
I think it may well do, yes, because you see how far we have come. I mean, it is still fairly obvious at times, there's not only an extra finger, but like an extra hand or an extra arm. And when you look closely at images, it's obvious that it's been AI generated. There is a deep mistrust, though, I think now, of what you can see, because when you look at an image now, you're immediately trying to see if there's any signs of AI. And it's happened where genuine images have been wrongly flagged by people rather than by computer programs, I might add, as fake images. And I think it's only going to get worse as these programs improve. And they have come on in leaps and bounds. I mean, we're now seeing a point where you can generate entire digital worlds on the fly, so this will have obviously implications for stuff like video games. But I think, there are going to be, obviously there are breaks on this, where governments are getting involved and regulations will at least try to put some limitations on what we can do with AI-generated images and how they can be presented to people, and that they can't be presented as genuine images. But it only works if people are following the rules, and people will always try and test the boundaries on this sort of thing.
Yeah, of course.
But Anna, we have to talk about that picture of Pope Francis in the puffer jacket.
And the puffer jacket.
God, so many people follow that one.
Yeah. Coolest guy on the planet.
Look at it. Absolutely. Look at it.
It's class.
And to if you're not au fait with AI technology, you think it's real, because there's nothing too malevolent about it, but that's kind of the slight dangers of AI. You can just tweak it just a little to completely misconstrue something.
Yeah, and you can see something that is genuine and expected, like the Pope wearing his normal garb. And then, you can stretch reality and credibility very, very far. And that one was just a little bit borderline. It was like you had to do a double take. Did he really wear it? Because it was conceivable that he did wear a puffer jacket in cold Rome in January or February of last year.
But they can be a bit more dangerous as well if you look at what Trump did with the Taylor Swift image. That was a fake as well.
Yeah, yeah. And as Ciara says, we have to question things which are outside of the expected realm of what we'd expect the Pope to be wearing or Taylor Swift videos.
Yeah, I think. Do we have that picture of Taylor Swift? I wanted to show our viewers. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's mad. That think you could do that.
Trump actually tweeted that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But the thing about these technologies is that you don't need to be an expert in AI. You can do this. I can do this. Anybody can do this. You just need, a computer or a smartphone and away and off you go. And it's the accessibility of these technologies, as well as the wonderful technology and the accuracy and the precision of them. But it's the accessibility and the fact that billions of people have them at their fingertips.
Yeah, and Alan, look, we've been chatting about AI chat like bots in the workplace, customer care and things like that. Has it been a positive thing for the workplace? Are we missing the human interaction?
Every disruption which is introduced by every technology has both positive and negative aspects. And we generally tend to want to believe they're more positive than negative. And it's the same with generative AI and AI more broadly. There are great positives and there are also some negatives associated with them. But the speed of the rollout here is such that those positives and negatives are happening faster and at a rate which we're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
2 years ago, Elaine, we wouldn't have had this discussion because it wasn't a topic. And now we're looking back on this as a topic.
It's evolving so
speed.
quickly. One thing that I think is a bit mad, actually, is the evolution of the AI dating apps, that you can actually chat to an AI version of your favourite celebrity and things like that,
crazy.
which is kind of almost... I mean, it's really making it an unhealthy alternative to the real thing, do you not think?
Well, I think that there's good and bad sides to everything. On one hand, if somebody is lonely and doesn't have much human interaction, these bots can be, I suppose, a lifeline for people. On the other hand, you don't want to get too far down a rabbit hole where all you're doing is talking to these bots. And I think that's the fear that a lot of people have, is that, and also that you need to know that you're actually talking to a bot, because that's not always clear. And as these programs get more and more sophisticated, that line, you used to be able to tell if you were talking to an AI.
I think they're talking to a sentient being now at this point.
And people treat them as such. And there's a dehumanization kind of element to that as well. That's a whole other discussion about, the way society is moving. And even think about how you speak to your smart speakers at home. If you have a Google Home and you ask Google to do something, I was reminded by my then 4-year-old to say please, because we tend to demand things and expect something to happen like that. And I think that this is another kind of step on that, where the interaction's not genuine.
Should you not dehumanise a gadget? You mean to humanise a box in the corner seems to be quite strange.
Well, it is, but at the same time, if you take those habits and then start applying them to people, if you get too used to demanding things from something and then you apply that to real people, that's where we have problems. I think when it comes to the kind of the AI dating apps, for some people, I can see why they work. But I think that if it cuts people off rather than provides, I suppose, an outlet for people, then that's where we kind of get into dodgy territory.
Yeah. We didn't get into, we had no time there for education. You're a professor yourself. It's been linked to using it for essays for college. Not sure what your opinion is on that, very quickly.
Well, very briefly, the idea of plagiarism detection, something generated by AI, being able to detect the difference between those, is really a non-runner, right? Because the technology moves faster than the detection algorithms can. So when it comes to education, at primary level, at second level, and at third level, there's a huge spectrum of approaches. One approach is to just not use it at all and design it out, and another approach is to design it in. And wherever a lecturer, a professor, a teacher, or a curriculum wants to sit on that spectrum is fine, right? You can do things where an instructor wants to say, I want this completely authentic and human sourced versus I want you to be able to use the AI tools, and this is the way in which they are used.
That's a Pandora's box indeed that cannot be shut once again. Thank you both so much for joining us on Ireland AM this morning.